It's a whiteout. Sort of. Luke Fickell is going west. Ohio State is finally playing a real sort of actual team, Dan Rubenstein. And your Oregon Ducks are going to keep you up all night long. Big Ten breakfast is now served. Welcome back to Big Ten Breakfast, the Big Ten preview show that's part preview show, but part Yelp review. Today we are visiting Sparty's Coney Island in East Lansing, Michigan. Dan Rubenstein, look at this place. Look at this place.
It's perfect.
I want to go right now.
It's where I want to retire too, Ty. This is my destination in life, is to end up at a Coney Island somewhere in Michigan. In Lansing, Michigan, to be clear. I don't think it's East Lansing. I don't know the area well enough, but I just know I'm going to end up at a table there someday, and that makes me very happy.
Wonderful. On today's show, yes, we are going to preview the things that get us talking about the Big Ten in this here Week 5. A lot of big point spreads, some other intriguing matchups. Definitely the kind of thing that you get it down in the belly, makes you feel nice and warm, makes you ready for the season ahead.
Yes.
Where are we starting today?
All right, we're starting with a game I'm calling over easy, which is very simple. We are going to determine if any of these games are going to be over easily for the favorites, because we have some big favorites. We're going to start here. You mentioned Ohio State.
I want to change how the world sees my patience.
State, Michigan. 23.5 point favorites. Ohio State is on the road in East Lansing, which I guess is our headline matchup if we're talking about a Coney Island and Lansing. Do you think this will be over easily for Ohio State, or I guess over medium, over hard, sunny side up, if it's even crazier than that, if it's like a 70-3 game? What do you think?
I've got it at 38-3. I don't know what that classifies at on your egg scale.
That's a heart stopper. Yeah.
I've got this at 38-3.
That's over.
I just think Ohio State is still very easily one of the top 3 teams in the country. I do think this will provide a little bit more of a test for them, because thus far the opponents have not given them any of that.
Yeah.
Michigan State has actually played quite well on defense, so I'm curious to see what the Buckeye offense looks like in this setup, again, on the road in a hostile Big Ten environment. All of these things I think will give us data points, but the rest of Michigan State is just not there. Offensively speaking, they're still way too mistake prone. I don't think they're going to provide much of a match for the Ohio State Buckeyes. But that being said, and even given the fact that I'm thinking 38-3 is my final, I do think this is more of a test than Ohio State has seen thus far. And so at least for that reason, I'm excited to see what this game has in store.
Yeah, I'm going to take the points. I don't feel great about them, but something about a defense at home, it should be a raucous crowd. By the way, this game is on Peacock, so if you need Ty's login, what is the email, that solidverbal@gmail.com, if you want Ty's login to Peacock? It's not going to be fun once you're watching the game, but all the same, Ty will hook it up. Yeah, I think Michigan State has I think it's over medium. I'm going to say over medium. It's not over easy, because there is something about playing your first or your realest opponent on the road. We'll see how the weather is on Saturday. It looks like it could be a little bit wet in the Midwest.
I want to change how the world sees my patience.
So, I don't know. I'm going to go with it being a little bit of a challenge for the Buckeyes. How about that?
That sounds good. Where are we going next?
All right, let's go Illinois, Penn State. So it's a sort of whiteout, is what you said?
Sort of white. It's an unofficial whiteout.
Is it a gray out, an eggshell out? What is it?
I don't get this.
Okay.
I don't get why they do this. Why don't they just wear white to all the games?
I agree.
We don't have to call it anything. Just everybody wear white. There's 110,000 people there. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Don't call it anything. We don't need to make everything a thing. Just wear the white. Get there at night.
Right.
Get all sauced up in the parking lot. Get ready for this game. Be loud once it kicks off. And then you are providing the ample amount of home field environment to help win if you are a Penn State fan. Point spread here is 19.5 points.
Ranked team. Ranked Illinois coming to town.
Ranked Illinois. So that's a big point spread against a ranked team, over easy, over medium, over hard. Where are you at with this?
I'm going to say... I'm going to say over medium for this one, maybe even a chance of over hard. Like, I like Penn State's chances, obviously, greatly in this one. Playing at home situationally. It's a night game, yes?
Yeah, 7:30.
Oh, man. So you're going to have a frenzied crowd, but there is something about Illinois, the pace with which they play. Luke Altmaier hasn't thrown a pick this year, knock on wood, because, I don't know, you don't like games coming down to turnovers. But there is something about his connection with Pat Bryant and Zachary Franklin, even if they haven't been running the ball well, even if the offensive line hasn't been like your typical Brett Bielema standard offensive line. There is something about this offense. The defense has made plays. We saw, even though they may have lost to Nebraska, or they had a chance of losing to Nebraska, the defense made plays in that one, harassing Dylan Raiola. So I'm going to say Illinois keeps it close enough that it's a difficult out. And I think I had something like 31-20 on the podcast. And I know you like Penn State in a physical way against Illinois, and you can get to that in a second. And I think they're going to succeed in that way. But I don't know. There's something that is fully dental about Illinois against Penn State that I can't shake. So, yeah, over medium here.
Yeah, I'm with you on over medium. I don't know if Penn State covers this point spread, but I think Penn State's going to be able to run at will against Illinois. I think it starts with the running game. I also don't think that Luke Altmaier is going to continue on the same trajectory in this football game. He's got 10 touchdowns, 0 interceptions so far. He has been exceptional, almost a different player as compared to what he was in 2023. So good on him and good on Brett Bielema and the coaching staff for getting the most out of him. I just don't see it in this football game. I think at some point they're going to be forced to throw the football into a hostile defense in a hostile, loud environment.
Yeah.
It's going to be really tough sledding for that Illinois offense. So I would expect we're going to see more mistakes out of him. I think on our podcast, I called out 2.5 interceptions as my personal over-under for what he ends up doing in this football game, Luke Altmaier. Curious to see what Illinois looks like in a big road spot like this. The other thing, if I could call this out just very quickly on the topic of Luke Altmaier.
Please.
Have you seen Luke Altmaier's hair this year?
No, go on.
Luke Altmaier's hair is some combination of Pat Mahomes, Dylan Raiola, and Captain America, U.S. soccer captain Christian Pulisic.
He's got like the alpaca?
He's got a little bit of the alpaca going.
That.
It's got more girth in the back than you would expect from the Mahomes haircut.
Okay. And
it's not quite as close cropped as the Pulisic haircut.
So is it mullety in the back? Like a little Razor Ramon? What is it?
It's got a little Razor Ramon to it.
Okay.
It's not quite full Razor Ramon. It's not quite full any of those.
Like Bobby's World, Howie Mandel? Not that far? Okay.
Just check it out. There's a lot going on there, and I feel like he's trying something with it, or he missed his regularly scheduled haircut.
It's working. He's having a great year.
10-0 touchdown interception ratio we'll take. I've got Penn State big. I don't know if they cover. I think they end up winning this one going away, but let's watch Luke Altmaier and let's see where that haircut evolves over the course of the season.
By the way, speaking of food in college towns, it's the hungriest Penn State boy in the booth, right? Todd Blackledge doing this one with Noah Eagle?
Blackledge. Is he doing Taste of the Town
No,
anymore?
no. But he's still a hungry boy. Once a hungry boy, always a hungry boy, Ty.
Yeah.
You know that.
I missed Taste of the Town.
That's good. It's great. Final one is Oregon, very late. This is 11 p.m. Eastern time, which I don't know if you've ever been to a strip club at 11 or 12 at night when they do the breakfast buffet, but the ladies love nothing more than hash brown breath from the weirdos at a strip club late at night. Oregon favored by 25.5 in the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, which, by the way, we did breakfast burritos on a previous episode of this. Check those out.
Yeah.
UCLA struggled in the second half and had a decent first half against LSU last week. Oregon coming off of a bye week, hopefully even getting healthier. If you're an Oregon fan along the offensive line, we'll see. But Oregon's significant favorites here, and I'm leaning over easy for this one just because situationally it's in an interesting spot. I don't know how that crowd's going to be at UCLA. You know, they got destroyed the last time they were at home against Indiana at home. So I tend to think Oregon's going to turn over UCLA a bunch, and even if it starts out relatively close, it's going to be I'm going to give those points with my hash brown breath.
With your hash brown, you're not even going to watch this game. This game is way too late.
And I wouldn't if we weren't streaming late, but I'll be watching it.
I think Oregon is going to demolish UCLA. I think UCLA is down bad. I think Deshaun Foster is in over his head. I think there's a lot wrong with this UCLA program right now, and it wouldn't surprise me if at some point, maybe this year is too soon to make the move, but certainly midway through next or even after the 2025 season, UCLA is looking for a different coach. It just doesn't seem like it is going to a good place right now.
Right.
And this is exactly what Oregon needs right in this moment to kind of get right, get themselves in order before they get to some of the bigger games on their schedule later this year, notably against Ohio State and Michigan.
Yeah.
They need a slump buster of sorts to kind of snap back into form and become the Oregon, the version of Oregon that we have expected all along. So we saw, I think, early trappings of that in their last game. This gives them another opportunity to do so on the West Coast in a big night spot here. Favored by 24.5 points. I'd be inclined to go Oregon minus whatever. I just don't think very highly of UCLA right now.
Their casual shortest Big Ten road trip, I believe, this year at like 800 miles. Great.
Right, exactly.
Okay, Ty. The next segment is very easy. It's called Toast or Not Toast. And on the count of 3, let us both say the best kind of bread for toast. 1, 2, 3. Sourdough. What? Oh, my God, Ty.
I'm okay with sourdough.
That's the least Big Ten answer possible.
What about rye?
Man.
What about rye? Rye?
Rye's good. Yeah, I like rye.
Can we agree? Middle ground on rye.
Yeah, buttered rye. Absolutely.
Buttered rye. Beautiful.
Is this team, Minnesota, toast heading to Michigan as, depending on where you look, on SV Bet, they're like 9.5 point dogs. Do we have SV Bet, Ty? Gambling problem? Sorry.
Not a real thing. Not a real thing.
Not a real thing? Big Ten Betfist?
Okay, sure.
Check out Big Ten Betfist on all of the apps. Is Minnesota, after giving up what they gave up to Caleb Johnson against Iowa last week, are they toast in the Big Ten heading into this Michigan game?
Are they toast in this game? Yes. Are they toast in the Big Ten? I can't say that for sure.
Okay.
Because you can score 17 points a game and still win a bunch in the Big Ten. That's sort of been the template in the Big Ten West for the last 5 years or so. So I don't want to go that far with Minnesota. I still have an affinity for this team. But I gotta believe that Sharon Moore looked at the game tape from a week ago, saw what Caleb Johnson did against this team, and figures, let's just do more of that over and over and over again. I think Sharon Moore's perfect world is a lot like Kirk Ferentz's perfect world.
Mm-hmm.
Just never throw the ball. Play defense and run it until your opponent bleeds. That's what they want to do.
It's the Herb Brooks, right? The old U.S. hockey.
Again. Yes.
Yeah.
That's what they want to do here. I think they can do it against this Minnesota defense. And for as much as I have liked the Gophers coming into this season, have maintained some level of optimism, this feels like a bad matchup to me. So yes, in this game, Minnesota toast.
For all of the reasons you outlined, I'm saying not toast. Because there's something very silly about this sport. It's why we make jokes about a letdown look-ahead sandwich. And Michigan, after a last-second emotional win against USC, I think is going to be a little bit spent. I think they're going to be in their feelings a little bit. And Minnesota, who is not all that good to me in this moment, but has room to improve, we'll call it, I think they're going to make this game weird. I think they're going to slow this game down. I think they're going to force a turnover or two, and I don't love their lines of scrimmage on either side of the ball. There's nothing that points to Minnesota keeping this game close because of what Minnesota has failed to do too often this year, which is consistently open up lanes for Darius Taylor, which is consistently get the ball downfield on offense, which is get stops on the ground, as we saw last week. But it's a weird sport, Ty, and I think situationally Minnesota's going to come in, and they're just going to drench Michigan in Big Ten gravy. And
I mean, there's a lot back. There's a lot back in this Minnesota team. And I do like the skill talent.
Yeah.
I do. There is a lot about this Minnesota team that I genuinely like. What I don't like is the coaching staff. I think we have now gotten to the point where the problem is the coaching staff. And they could swap guys in and out. They could try to change schemes, but it just does not feel to me like PJ Fleck is going to take this team to another level. I don't know if he's got that extra gear in him. Maybe he should be making calls again to UCLA, like we know he did a little bit ago, right? Let's get a different coaching staff in there at some point in time here and see if Minnesota can be renovated in a way that the offense feels more inventive, feels more modernized, because right now, whatever they are trying, and it has gotten a little bit better, to be fair. A little bit better, marginally so.
Okay.
What they have tried has not been effective. And it's frustrating to me as somebody who was excited about this team. I can only imagine what it feels like to be a Minnesota fan, to watch this offense go out there, to feel like you've got interesting and exciting weapons that you're just unable to use. I can only imagine the frustration that must be building on that side of things. But in this game specifically, I think all the advantages are on the Michigan side. And I agree with you. It's hard to concoct a way in which the Golden Gophers end up winning.
Yeah.
Situationally speaking, we've seen it a million times over in college football where weird things happen. So to your point, maybe we see a bit of that here.
Schedule for Minnesota is not that fun. Doesn't look great for them.
No.
Next team is Wisconsin toast. Down their starting quarterback, now heading to USC, who looks to be a tough Big Ten team, despite what happened at the end of the Michigan game last week. Is Wisconsin. Are the Badgers toast?
Honest to a fault.
Yes and no. They're not Jim Nantz toast where it's just burnt.
Fully charged, allegedly.
They're not fully charred toast, but they're on like the 2 setting on your toaster, just lightly toasted in this matchup. I could see a world in which they cover the point spread. 15.5. I don't know if anybody is fully sold on the USC defense. It is better. It is undeniably better than it was any of the last couple seasons. They're tackling again, which is definitely a quantum leap forward.
Yeah.
But to say that they're going to go in and be able to score with USC, to me, is the problem. Because even if we assume that Wisconsin's got a pretty good defense, which I think is fair to assume, USC was able to move the ball against Michigan last week, which I think we would agree is a much better defense than anything Wisconsin's going to field.
Yeah.
So even if we find ourselves in a situation in this game where Wisconsin's keeping it close and they're keeping the scoring down, at some point, I don't think you can keep USC's offense down for 60 minutes or so. So they're going to pull away. I could see them win this game by like 14 points, like 28-14, 27-13, somewhere in that neighborhood. But 15 and a hook there, to me, feels like it's a little bit much. So I'd be inclined to go Wisconsin plus the points, but generally speaking, I think we're looking at a light toasting situation for Wisconsin.
Yeah, Wisconsin's defensive line is not as good as Michigan's, but the USC offensive line took some hits last week. Their left tackle got benched. Their center really struggled. And I don't know. I think there's opportunity for the Wisconsin offense to get USC out of rhythm, at least on offense.
But Dan, what is the offense? What is the offense, right? Is Braden Locke? Do you have confidence in Braden Locke?
He's older. He's a year older, a year wiser, a year stronger, Ty.
I guess. I hear what you're saying and you're not wrong. I just don't know what I'm hanging my hat on here with this Wisconsin offense because I don't know what it is anymore.
Right. So, yes, they've gotten away from the full power looks. They've tried to pass the ball more, and obviously you can do less without your starting quarterback. They couldn't do a ton with TVD anyway, and they really struggled against Alabama. But, you can't judge a team based on, having to thrust in your backup quarterback against Alabama all of a sudden mid-game. Nobody's ever going to truly succeed in that scenario, home or not. So, I think Wisconsin is better than what they were able to show against Alabama. And USC is probably better. If they get the opportunity to play Michigan again at some point, I don't think they're going to make the exact same mistakes near the end of the game. So I think we can be optimistic about both of these teams. Neither of these teams are fully toast, certainly not SC in this moment. I say Wisconsin's not toast. I say their defense can succeed enough, and USC has not earned a line. The good folks at Bet 10 Breakfast, I know, are confident in USC here, but I'm going to say Wisconsin can do enough to keep this game within reason and lose by 10 or 13 points.
They can do enough to lose by 10 to 13 points. Such odd construction and a little bit of a backhanded
Does the USC offensive line look more human than perhaps we thought? Yeah.
Probably,
yeah. USC, by the way, down Bear Alexander, who decided to redshirt, so the Bear Claw breakfast food is not going to be playing in this one. He was a rotation defensive lineman for the Trojans early on this year. Final team is Purdue. Is Purdue fully Jim Nantz toast?
I think so. Purdue's had some injuries that are not helping matters.
I won't change how the world sees my patience.
They look completely out of their depth against a team like a Notre Dame. And I am just fearful about them going up against a team like a Nebraska, which, look, everybody's talked about Dylan Raiola, but this is still a really, really sound defense. I'm not sure what's going on with Purdue at this point. Coming into this season, I think, liked the rhetoric from Ryan Walters. We liked the fact that he had a very open stance towards the portal, despite the fact that the portal took away his best 2 players in the offseason. It just feels to me like, again, it's a circumstance where we're another year out. We're pushing this thing down another year, hoping that maybe he could find some way to turn things around with recruiting or with transfers or whatever else. But the offense has not been all that great. I'm just not sure what we're betting on here. If we're betting on Purdue to make any kind of serious noise against Nebraska. A 10-point road favorite maybe is asking a little bit of a lot from a true freshman quarterback in Dylan Raiola, even if you like him.
Sure.
But I don't think there's any chance Purdue is winning this game.
Okay, so I think Purdue is toast, but I think there are things to like about Purdue, even with losing the way they lost to Notre Dame and then Oregon State last week. I think their linebackers are playmakers, and you're right, they are beat up. Devin Mockabee's had a nice year at running back, again, in a losing effort, right? That they are not able to sustain drives. They're not, their 3-and-out number is crazy. But I think their schedule is such where it's just at the back half of Purdue's schedule. If we're talking about toast in the long term, it's Illinois, Oregon, they have Northwestern, Ohio State, Penn State, and they finish at Indiana in the old Oak and Bucket game.
It's probably 5 losses, right?
Yeah, I don't see
this version of Purdue loses 5 of those games.
Oh yeah, they're not getting much from the passing game at all. I'm not a Graham Harrell guy. I've never been a Graham Harrell guy, so I don't see how Purdue is able to turn it around and get any sort of pop here. I'm going to say they're not full Nance charred, because when you have defensive playmakers and you can run the ball, maybe you can, get weird pace and slow a game down and do something weird. But yeah, I think they're like a 3 or 4 out of 5 on that char level. Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And with that, Ty, it's just time to talk even more food. It's time to talk Sparties, right?
Yeah,
I've been waiting this entire time. You looked at the menu. It's a Coney Island, which is... It's a diner in Michigan that has a special kind of chili cheese dog. I think it's chili, mustard, and onions. Maybe cheese is optional. And some Greek food. There are Coney Islands all over the state. What is your thought on Sparties? What is your order?
Dude, they make a 6-egg omelet here.
Of course they do.
You can't eat a 6-egg omelet on your own unless you are like a professional bodybuilder. That can't be good for you.
Unless you're in the Buloff family. Was that the family with the couple linebackers at Michigan State? Yeah.
Yeah, unless you're in the Buloff family. That's maybe its own kind of class of human. But I think for the rest of us, I'm good with the half Sparty.
Okay.
The half Sparty special omelet, which is 3 eggs, has some veggies in there. That to me is what I think is the order.
Sides?
I also saw they've got a variety of breakfast burritos as well, but I feel like when in Rome, I want to order the special if at all possible. So I looked at it. It looks good enough to me. And all the pictures you have sent me look phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
To our point earlier, this is definitely the kind of place we want to go.
No-brainer.
So count me in for the 3-egg version of the Sparty special omelet.
I'm doing a chili cheese omelet, Ty. I don't know if you ever had a chili cheese omelet.
That's a full day commitment, right?
It's a full day commitment. Look, they might just be opening up, and I don't know, they might just be opening up a can of chili and dumping it on. I kind of doubt it because it's a Coney Island and a lot of those places pride themselves on their chili for their chili dogs. Either way, I love chili cheese omelets. I just do. I would get a side of American fries, which I've never even heard that term, but that's what it's listed on as the menu. I think they're just home fries. Maybe there's some sort of political statement they're making via potato. But the fries look great, like home fries. I don't know. The plates look great. The vibes look great. I imagine we're going to be among the youngest people there, which is great. That counts to me as a great quality for a diner. And you can't go wrong with any of their giant pancakes, it looks like, or any of their scrambles or omelets.
Yeah, I'm all about the special omelet. I can't do the pancake thing, though. I can't.
You got to do table pancake.
Yeah,
Couple bites.
I'll share some with you. Mm-hmm. But if we're talking about a day of going to the game or really going anywhere other than the diner, the pancake's just going to wear me down, man.
Yeah.
I can't. So I'm not anti-pancake, broadly speaking, but anti-pancake if we've got some sort of activity planned if we're going to the game or something like that.
Yeah, and I would do coffee too, which you know what my insides are going to do if I'm eating a chili cheese omelet. And coffee is probably not great here, and I kind of like that it's probably not great. I'd be worried about a diner if their coffee was too good. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm going to go black coffee, chili cheese omelet, and pray to the gods above.
Oh my God, we gotta stay somewhere nearby.
Yes, that's exactly right. All right,
leave it at that.
On that note, thank you everybody for watching Big Ten Breakfast. Get your wagers in on Bet 10 Breakfast on the app anywhere. It's ridiculous.
Not real. That is not a real thing.
It's not real.
Not a sponsor. Could be.
Yeah, do not give us our own betting app. That would be. It would violate so many FTC regulations. We would not be able to do this anymore. Thank you everybody for watching. Enjoy your Big Ten matchups. Enjoy your breakfast on Saturday. We'll see you soon.